Hello, my name is Rufara Michelle Mutepfa. Um, I am in my second trimester at Griffith College. I am an international student from Zimbabwe. The first question says, what stream am I in? Okay, I'm currently in the social work stream. And the reason why I was interested in being in the social work stream is that the whole aspect of social work itself. There's a lot of need in this world that we live in. There's a lot of people in need, a lot of things going on that need to be solved by people who, have the knowledge to solve it. And coming from an African country, Zimbabwe, I've seen some of these things right in front of me. And I believe that studying social work means that I'll be equipped enough to sort of like fill that need, even if I don't end up helping everyone. I'm equipped enough to help at least someone. So yeah, the reason why I want to study social work is because I am in a position to make change. I'm in a position to be a catalyst to change. And to me, that's just something that amazes me. That's just something that I want to be a part of. When people talk about child protection, I want to be a part of that. When they talk about advocating for the rights of humans, for the rights of people who do not have human rights, I want to be a part of that. When people talk about women who are being abused and taking them out of that abuse, I want to be a part of that. When they talk about racism, creating movements to help that, I want to be a part of that. And I think that's the biggest reason why I decided to study social work. My future goals is, to be fair, I'm not quite sure, but when I think of the word career, I see myself working in a hospital, maybe as a clinical social worker, or I see myself in the extreme working in international relations, which is basically like the policy side of social work, where I am working in order to help people change the policies for the good of the community. My favorite psychological perspective. I think my favorite psychological perspective is the evolutionary perspective. The evolutionary perspective is basically a perspective that sees us, okay, that considers how our survival is as a result of natural selection. What I get from this is a giraffe. I remember when I was young, my mom used to tell me a story where giraffes when they were younger, early giraffes in the earlier days, did not have long necks. But because of natural selection and because the trees got higher and higher, they had to reach out and then their necks grew longer. I don't know if that's true, but that's how I see the evolutionary perspective, that survival is as a result of, sorry, that's what's it called? That us surviving is as a result of the things that happened around us. So just like how the giraffes had to grow longer necks to be able to eat and survive, and those which grew longer necks are the ones who were able to survive, the ones that didn't die, right? So I see it as the same as us, that the things that are nurtured inside of us are what grow, but the things that are not nurtured inside of us do not grow and they shrink, right? Um, okay. Yeah. It's just like how, okay, I will speak of, let's say, racism, right? Um, because the times have changed, things like racism are not prominent anymore. Of course, it's still there, but they're not prominent anymore. Why? Because of the evolving of the world and how now we see each other as more of a global community, as opposed to before, where the people of other races were just seen as slaves. But then now we can communicate, you can communicate the same, we can work the same as everyone else. Why? Because it has evolved and our views towards each other have evolved. And then now I will speak about what's your least favorite psychological perspective? I think my least favorite psychological perspective is the cognitive perspective. This is the perspective that talks about mental processes, like thinking and problem solving, and it assumes that these mental processes influence our behavior. Okay, the way I interpreted this is that your capacity to solve a problem influences how you act. As much as this may be true in some situations, I thought about it as myself. I'm not really good at maths. I'm not really good at math. I don't have a mathematical brain. Yeah, I don't know if that's a correct term, but I don't have a mathematical brain. And if using that cognitive theory, the assumption is that since I don't have a mathematical brain, I behave a certain way. But it's one of those things where if you talk to me, if you speak to me, you can't see that I don't have a mathematical brain. So I feel like this cognitive theory it's got a little gap in it because it has a very narrow view of seeing things. It sees things through the lens of, thinking and memory, and attaches it to behavior, which is too, for me, I see it as far-fetched because memory and behavior, those are two different things. Yeah, in my understanding. So, yeah, that's my least favorite psychological perspective. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you.